Hey guys, Dave here. I'm not streaming today, so instead I'm just going to do a quick video showing you guys how we set everything up for flying gliders in Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a lot of third-party tools, a lot of things, a lot of clicky, so let me show you what's going on. All right, so on my Twitch page, Twitch channel, About section, Discord link. So Discord is our repository for all of the flight assets and communications, scheduling and things like that. Flight assets downloads. So join the Discord server, flight asset downloads. So this is where I post the flight plan / task and the weather preset. So you want to download the weather for the day for the plan if you're going to join us, the WPR and the PLN for the task. So this is the Norway one we did the other day. I'll just download those. Okay, here's my downloads. Here's the weather preset and the flight plan. So the flight plan you can load directly in the sim, but the weather preset you actually have to manually, frustratingly, annoyingly, you have to manually put into the correct folder. So, and that is located on your by default, or I guess it should say this may depend on your installation of Microsoft Flight Simulator. This might vary a little bit. You might need to check if this doesn't work. So C drive, sorry, we'll start here. C drive, users, whatever your username directory is, app data, which is a hidden folder. So if you don't have app data shown, you need to show hidden folders. Roaming, Microsoft Flight Simulator, weather, presets. I'll put that whole path up on the screen. And then, so you just want to copy that into there. Let's go. So main menu in the sim, world map, select your glider, obviously your airplane here. And then we want to go to load the flight plan. You have to click more and then load save. Now we can load from this PC. It's in my downloads folder. There's the flight plan. Open it. And it will show you the plan. So it should look like that. Okay, now flight conditions for the weather. And this is somewhat blocked by the webcam there. So I'm actually going to tweak this when we get back in. But it should show, your weather preset should now show at the bottom of this list. The weather presets that you have in that folder that we manually copied should show up here. So, whoops, not New Zealand. We were in Norway. Norway, 4,000 foot cloud base, west wind. Okay, now the date and time. I also post that in the Discord. Go back to Discord on the flight assets. Here's the info for the date and time that we're gonna fly and the weather and the wind. So for this task, we did July 1st, July 1st. And we're going to launch at noon, as close as you can get it. So this is one of those annoying things that the sim does. I can't manually type. I can only drag the slider. You can also sort of like scroll your mouse wheel by putting the cursor on either side of the dot, and that like kind of, I can sort of dial it, but it's still, there we go. Now I can get it. Yeah, anyways, it's frustrating. So the weather preset should have all these settings already set. The thing that never seems to carry over is the wind. It just doesn't. These settings have a mind of its own, particularly the wind and the gust setting. Notice how those are different. We definitely don't want that. So in the Discord, I post the wind that we're going to do today. So you have to manually enter 270, and we wanted 8 knots of wind. The gust 270 and 0 knots of wind. We've mostly been flying with 0 knots of wind. I'm gonna go back and we're probably gonna have to adjust this again. So, and then we just have one layer of clouds, so that should be good. Okay. So now before we fly, what's important is we sync up. So to do that, we go time.gov. We decide on a go live time, a fly time. So we go to do that. We go to time.gov, and because this has a clock which should tick the same for everybody. And we're going to say click fly at, let's say, 6:15 p.m. So we all just watch this, and when it says 6:15, then click fly. Now, the reason you do that is because that is the only way, at least that we know of, to synchronize the weather between all players. From what I understand, it's doing something like it like builds the cloud map based on the time that you click when you load in the game. So right now it's doing that for everybody individually. So if everybody has the same preset and everybody clicks fly at the same time, it will generate the same clouds, right? It's the same weather. So now once you get in, then immediately go back to the weather, and now double check the settings, make sure the time is right, 12:01, that's fine. And then mainly check the wind. Notice how the wind has reset. It did not remember that. So wind from 270. And so you want to do this right away, because if I load in and my wind is 0 and you load in and your wind is 20 knots, your clouds are going to be blown right downwind a little bit more than mine. So we have to manually do this to sync up. So Asobo Studios, get a proper weather synchronization, please. Thank you. Okay, weather's good. Okay, now we're in. Weather's good. And if I had other people joining me, if we had other people in here, they would show up on the VFR map. Oh, also, when I bring the VFR map, notice that it shows the task, the flight plan, basically. It thinks it's a plan, but we're actually doing a task. Before you load in, load up little nav maps. Using little nav maps to use this on the stream to show people where we're going, but this also keeps a track of your track log. I'm already seeing the plan and my track log from the flight, so what I'm going to do is click that to do a new flight plan. And then I can just drag the same flight plan file, just drag it over here. Boom, there it is. There's the task. And it shows the task because I already flew this, but if you didn't fly it, you won't see the task. Okay. Now this is just run in the background. You can just ignore this. You don't really have to use it. We just use it. I use it on the stream, and we use it for generating the track log. So, all right, minimize that, and we don't need this anymore. Okay, now I'm in the game, and I'm in the Discus 2C that I've been flying, which is a very beautiful airplane. And one of the main reasons is for this flight computer. Actually, there's some things I'm going to turn off. I don't need the flarm. That's kind of fun, but not necessary. And this has like a little GoPro over here, which doesn't really do anything, so I'll get rid of that. And I also don't like to see the stick because it gets in the way of some of these other controls. Okay, I can close the canopy. I'm in metric units, so I changed to imperial units, that button there. And I won't go over all the buttons and features in here, but I want to go over the flight computer. So if I click this button, it switches to navigation. It shows me here on the runway, and I can see the map. Okay, so this is kind of another buggy thing. Sometimes I've loaded in here and I don't see a map, and the navigation's not working. And the only way I can get it to work is to reload. So be aware, this is another sort of bug with this computer. So just be aware of that. It's something to check before you get in. Let me tow up, and then we'll go over the computer. So, all right, let's go fly. So I'll launch.
All out.
Okay, and now once I'm off tow, I can click the middle button here to switch back to the navigation. If your Vario makes no noise in this airplane, well, first of all, check and make sure your volume is up. Tone volume 4. Now it's off. So make sure your volume's on. If you still get no Vario sound, you can. The fix is to turn it off and on again. So the master battery down here, open that up, turn it off, turn it back on, and close it back up. So once you get off tow, the first thing you need to do is to climb, get established in that thermal. So that's what we're doing now. And luckily it's right here, right off the end of the runway after towing up, so don't have to go looking for it. Now that we're up in the air, let's talk about the navigation. So this is the LXN nav mod that we are using. Let's see, yeah, LXN nav replacement. So there's info for this on the Discord server. And this mod is available for a couple of different airplanes, third-party airplanes, including the Discus 2C that I'm flying. So let me just kind of go over how we set up and use this for glider task navigation. It has different pages, one page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page, and settings, right? So the first two, these navigation pages, it works like a lot of GPS instruments, like navigation, like Garmin's or something, right? So you have these different tiles, and these can be customized, and you can zoom in and out. Yep, there we go. Zoom in and out. Push this button, you can change to it so it keeps the airplane heading. I like to keep the map always pointing north. And let's go to the next page over. So this first page tells you by default this is navigating me to an airport. So you can customize these things and you can make it do whatever you want. But this is telling me navigation to the nearest airport, and you can see the orange line is pointing me to the airport, and ETA 1 minute, so I'm like right there, right? So that's airport navigation. Next page, this is your task navigation, and it's actually navigating me to the airport because that's a selected waypoint. We'll go over that in a second. But this one for task, for flying the task. Next page over, this is the list of turn points on the task. And it says task not started because I haven't started yet. And start is the first one. And then these are the names of the different turn points that are set up in the task. You can set the task up yourself, or you download something that somebody's made. And then finishes the last one. And on the last, this page is just for towing. For connecting to this Kinetic Assistant, which is another third-party tool that I'm not using. Don't worry about that. Last page gives you options for ballast. You would set this up on the ground. And aircraft settings, units, and interface options. One thing I want to do is go interface options and turn on improved readability. I already have this on. This shows use only 6 much larger data fields. So with this off, you get fewer data, or you get twice as many data fields, but they're really small. And in this airplane, it's pretty hard to read even in this improved readability mode. So these are some other options you could turn on. I have the wind indicator turned off because the Vario on this glider tells me the wind direction, so I don't need it there. Of course, pointer arrow is handy to have. And yeah, so basically I want to turn on improved readability. That's the main thing I recommend. Back to customizing the individual pages. There's this setting button right here. This can be hard to see. These buttons could use a little more contrast depending on what the background is, but it's here. So click that, and now there's a blue box around these tiles, and then you double click to bring up the options. Right? So settings, double click, and it brings up the options for that tile. So these are the values you can display. So you can select from any of these things. You can turn it off, airspeed, ground speed. Whoops, you can't scroll with the scroll wheel. Speed to fly, GPS, ground speed, angle of attack. So there's all kinds of stuff on here. A lot of things maybe you think you'll want. A lot of them I don't want. This page is for my task navigation. So notice these tiles are colored. So you can change these settings. So click that again. Now I have the bluish box. Double click. There it is. And now you can set the background color, and background color if negative, right? So this one, the background color is set to green, and the background color if negative is set to red. So when this number turns positive, meaning you have it on glide, it'll turn green. So that's how you can set these colors. Anything you want. Not necessary, but it's kind of nice to have colored display. And then this one I have a magenta, and then it's red if negative. So that's why you're seeing it's positive, so it's magenta. If it's negative, it's red. There is another bug here that if it's positive more than 10,000 feet, then it will be red. It'll be the negative background color. I don't know why. So task navigation, these are the tiles that I use. waypoint bearing. This is the heading to the waypoint. It's telling me 80 degrees, which is the orange line. Waypoint heading, this is my current heading, 7 degrees. Maybe you want those next to each other, but this is just the way I have mine. So you can see I'm not pointing in the direction I need to go. And that's reflected in this arrow here. And then, so next is the distance to the waypoint, 5.2 nautical miles. Now this is the distance to the center, not to the edge of the circle. So this flight computer doesn't have an option for an optimized flight path, which would tell you the distance to the tangent point of the cylinder, not the center. I could go more into detail on that. But for right now, basically, for simplicity's sake, it's 5.2 miles. And then these next two values, these are the super important values. So waypoint arrival AGL. So this is telling me that based on my current airspeed and altitude, that by the time I glide to my waypoint, I will arrive there 3,140 feet AGL, right? So that's super important because that lets you know whether or not you can get there or not, right? That's how we know. And then this number down here, task fin AGL, is telling me minus 26,600 feet AGL task finish. I'm not nearly high enough to finish the task, right? Now it may be that you've got 1 or 2 turn points to go through before you get to the finish, and then this turns green. And if that's the case, you know you can just fly through the course and make it into goal, right? So these two values, waypoint arrival AGL, these are super important. And basically just having these two things here makes glider, soaring, cross-country flying, racing possible. And then task time. See how long the task is taking you. So you can change any of these things. I really don't need to see my heading because the computer shows me here. And plus there's a compass, so you know, maybe I'll change this to, yeah, I mean, I could change this to anything, any of these other settings. So, but I just have that on now for now. So you can set these up however you want. This is how I like it, and I would recommend, you know, these are the main things you need to know. Next key thing to note is these two little arrows at the top here. These allow you to change between waypoints. So you can see this is basically going through my list. Now, because of the way Microsoft, this is very important, because of the way Microsoft Flight Simulator's flight plans work, they have to start and end at an airport. So my first waypoint is the airport I took off from. So it's right now, when I first took off, it's going to navigate me to the airport. So unless I touch the airport, then it won't go on to the next waypoint, the next turn point. However, I can just skip it with these arrows here, and now my first waypoint is start, which is where I want to go. And if I zoom out, now I can see that's the start line. So orange is your current flight path to the waypoint, orange current waypoint start line, and magentas is future path, right? So the task will start and the task timer will start when you cross the start line, right? And it ends when you cross the finish line, right? So that's just some basics on that. And if I go over to the next page, you can see again, here's the list of points, right? Notice that the task doesn't include that first and last waypoint, which are the airport, right? That's just because Microsoft Flight Simulator needs airports as start and finishes for the flight plan. Okay, another thing, let's go back to the first page, which is the airport navigation. So now this one, look, it's only navigating me to airports. It's not, I can't change between waypoints. And so that's, you know, for airport navigation. So this is good for cross-country flying, and maybe you don't have a flight plan. You just want to know, oh, can I get to that airport? So you can look up airports like on little Navmap. Like I bring little Navmap up, and let's say this airport over here, actually, which is ENAL. I'm trying to learn my phonetic alphabet. I'm still not there yet. Echo November Alpha Lima, right? Echo November Alpha Lima. Echo November Alpha Lima. So now I can go to the next page for the airport navigation, which is this style. This is info on the current airport. And next one down, Echo November Alpha Lima, 23.6 miles to the north. So if I click that, now it is selected as the current airport, and then I can go back to the map, and now it's telling me 23 miles, estimated arrival 22 minutes, and another important stat is the arrival altitude at the airport. So that's very, very handy, and we were able to use this to extend a long cross-country flight the other day by looking up the airports and then on little nav maps, and then going into here and finding them. And so now I could select like this one and then go up, and now it tells me, oh, minus 6,000, right? It's 93 miles. I can't get there from here unless I climb in a thermal, or if there's ridge lift or something. That's the airport navigation, super cool feature. Mostly we're concerned with the task navigation, and it's telling me to go to the start. So let's go ahead and do that. Unpause. And while I'm thermaling here, there's another setting that we can use. The latest version of and I just scrolled that accidentally. The multiplayer settings. So this computer supports multiplayer now for everyone in the sim who is using the same computer. And to access that, we scroll to the task page where it shows your waypoints, and then we use the up and down slider to get to the multiplayer engine. And you click connect, and it usually says it's not available when you first connect, so you click it again. Now add a new flight, and I don't think it matters what you title this. Whoops. I'll just call it F. And I also don't think it matters what you put for the start time. Hit create flight, and then you click it, and now it will show everybody who's connected. And I don't have anybody in here with me right now, so it doesn't show anybody. But once I'm in there, now I can scroll back to my map. It will show them on the map here, which is really cool to be able to see their position on the map, on the course relative to you. Very, very cool feature. The other feature that I should show you while we're thermaling is the thermal mapper, thermal visualizer page. And you access that from the task page where I'm in right now. And that is also this button, or this dial. And dial it down, and now I'm getting the thermal indicator. So a green dot means lift, and the bigger the green dot, the stronger the lift. So right now it's really light. I'm seeing like less than 1 knot. Let's see as I bring it around here if it'll get stronger. And red dots mean sink. See if I can go back and get that lift again. I was distracted by, as I come under this cloud, I think we'll get it stronger. Yeah. So it's getting stronger, so the dots should get bigger. Yep. 4,500 feet. So you can see you can use this to find the stronger part of the lift. You can see I'm light lift here, so I really kind of want to get right back into this area, right? So let's see if we can find it again. I'm trying to do this while looking at the computer and not actually flying. It's probably a bad idea. It's definitely lift in this area. There it was. So you get the idea. You can use that. All right. Well, we're going to go start the task just so I can show that. It's actually 1 mile to the center, but if I make a right turn here, you'll see I'll cross it very soon. Because I don't have to cross it right in the center, right? And should be any second now. And there we go. So now it says task started. There's the time that I start, the altitude that I started at. And now we get an additional line. So this orange line here is the course line to the center of the turn point, and the other orange line is my current heading. And if I can zoom out enough, you can see. You can't see the circle, but there is a circle there. It's just too small, and I'm too far away from it. So when I get closer, you can see it. So anyway, so that's it. I think that pretty much covers everything I think that we use for configuration on getting this set up so we can do glider flying in here together. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions. And of course, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/designbydave. That's where we do all our flying. So hopefully we can get you guys in here. And yeah, I would love to have you join us, have more people flying. So hopefully we'll catch you next time. See ya.